One thing that I really loved was that they started making the cats magical. I really wanted to know more like, okay, well, but what are all of the little spells you're putting on these cats? I want to know every single one, and then I want one of those cats. Welcome to More Magic, a fantasy book podcast. I'm your host, Demi Utley.
And I'm your co-host, Marianne Boules.
We have our tea, our cozy blankets, and a lot of opinions. But be warned, today's episode has spoilers, so listen at your own risk. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next book club episode of the More Magic podcast. I'm joined by Marianne. Thank you.
Howdy, everyone.
So today we are talking about Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter, which I thought was a lot of fun. So for everyone listening, this is a spoiler podcast, so we are going to talk a lot about the book. For context, if you haven't read the book, I'll give a quick summary and then pause it, come back after you read the book and listen to us talk about it so we don't ruin it for you. So this one is about Agnes, who she runs a cat shelter in Montreal in the 1920s, I believe was roughly the time period. And she can't find a place because no one wants to rent to her and her cats. And then she ends up in a place that is owned by a magician and gets pulled into the conflict of the world. And she hates magic also. And there's a lot of cats, and we'll talk about all of the details. But I thought this was fun. I really liked the cats, and I wanted to ask you, because I know you have a dog. How do you feel about cats?
All right. Ooh, controversial question. Should I give my politically correct answer, or should I give my honest to God answer?
I think the truth. Yeah.
Okay. I'll be honest, I have always seen myself as a dog person. I had a cat. I loved her in high school. But I was also scared of her. Like, I remember when I would go to bed, I would jump from like the furthest I could from the bed to the top of the bed, because my cat would be under there to swipe at my ankles. And then if I wanted to go to sleep, right when I started to finally fall asleep, she would scratch my hair out. So,
oh my gosh.
I still loved her. I want to make it clear, but also I have to be honest, this was an abusive relationship. Okay? And she loved me too. I know she did, because she would like meow at me and like she would follow me around. I really miss her. But my family has a new cat, and actually this cat's name is Dog. He's an orange tabby. He has never once scratched anyone. And in fact, is like the least stimulated cat, like easily stimulated cat you'll ever meet. Like, you could pick him up, pet him, put your face in his belly, and he never attacks. So I think maybe cats have and it's kind of in the book too, cats have a very, unlike dogs, I guess. I don't know if this is true, so people please back me up or completely disagree with me. I'm open-minded to this. But like, I think cats' personalities are very diverse.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I was like actually writing my Substack post about the book earlier, and I said that exact thing because I was thinking about, because sometimes I'd be like, well, I'm a dog person, but now like having 2 dogs and a cat and a toddler, I'm like, the dogs are so much work. Maybe I'm a cat person. He's just like my roommate. Like, he just does his own thing. Like, he killed a rat and then ate it, which like grossed me out, but he fed himself.
It's very utilitarian. Like, yeah. helps you. You don't have a rat infestation problem. So
oh no, yeah, he's gotten all of the rats and some squirrels, and he tries to get birds, but we're like, well, maybe they're just like the old birds that can't fly. That's how I'm trying to rationalize it. But I was thinking about that in the book because we had a lot of cats growing up. Everyone in my family has cats and dogs, and I was trying to like match the personalities of the cats that I've known with the cats in the book. And I was like, none of them match, because I think cats have just such unique personalities. And it was so well conveyed in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think dogs have diverse personalities?
I think they do, but I feel like I guess not all dogs, but a lot of dogs still have that kind of like dog companion personality. And I feel like cats are way more like some of them will like love you and want to like be with you all the time. And then others like don't care at all. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, dogs do have personalities, but this book made me just think about cats and appreciate them. Yeah.
I will say this book really made me love cats. Like I almost was like, should I get a cat?
I know.
Because like it was a love letter to cats. And like, so I have to say, like, I was like, yeah, cats are wonderful. They're amazing. They're so unique and beautiful and sweet, and we should protect them at all costs, which I do believe, regardless of the fact that I'm more of a dog person than a cat person. I totally support Agnes's mission in the book, which is to save all of the cats, because every animal deserves a safe home, especially if they're domesticated and can only rely on humans for safety.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I've always wanted to like start some sort of animal sanctuary, and reading this book was kind of like living that life.
Totally.
And then I was like, I don't know if I could start it. It's like, you really have to give like every second of every day. And I grew up on a farm. So like I had to get up and like feed like the ponies and the chickens and like all of that stuff. And I don't want to go back to it. So this was a good reminder that I don't know. I think I'm good with my 2 dogs and cat. I don't know if we can do anything else.
That is so funny, Demi. I didn't know that you grew up on a farm. Because I grew up in Los Angeles, to me, a farm is like the paradise. It's like the land of milk and honey. It's like what in my mind, when I retire, I'm going to go to a farm.
Like cats and dogs.
Yeah, like all of my dog, like when my cat disappeared, it's because presumably she went to a farm. I will go to that same farm one day.
Yeah, well, I didn't say we lived on a farm, but then I have slowly learned that that's what it was, because we had cows and chickens. And
that's a farm. From my perspective, you have a cow, that's a farm. 1 cow even, farm.
There were a lot. So more than one. But yeah, so when our pets disappeared, like they were already on a farm. So yeah, it was kind of intense. But anyway, we won't go down that route. So
speaking of like something else, kind of to your point, there's this vicarious element to it that's very quintessential of cozy fantasy, which is like a woman who runs her own cat shelter, and it's so lovely and you want to live vicariously through it. But the world that she's living in is fascinating. Do you want to talk about the magic system and the world that she's in?
Yeah. Well, first, I loved that it was in Montreal. I don't think I've ever read a book set in Montreal with or without magic. I don't know if you have. And I've never been there. So it was like, that was also so fun.
Well, embarrassing to admit, but I thought, like, I didn't realize that this book was in Canada. And I was so confused when she's like, it would take weeks to get to Paris. I was like, how big can France be? Like,
because it felt like it was in France, right?
Yeah, I thought she was like at the bottom tip of France or something like that. And that's why it would take weeks. I was like, weeks? Maybe 2 weeks, like that. It's not a big country. Now, when you said Montreal, I was like, oh, yes, I forgot about the Quebec province.
Because it felt very much like France. Because I mean, they talk about French and the pastries and like all of that stuff. And I was like, wow, I haven't been to that part of Canada. So it made me want to go. I was like, this feels very French. So like, yeah.
And in the Audible, like by the way, the voice actress did such a fantastic job, but she has such a French accent and she says everything with the French accent. So it feels like I'm in France. So it was. But now
I wish I listened to the audiobook now. Oh
it's
my God.
Beautiful. It's beautiful the way she describes people's names that I'll try to copy maybe on this podcast. But this also explains why when the cold came in the beginning of the book, for those of you if you don't remember, like half of her apartment was missing. Mm-hmm. And it was like such a big deal. I was like, what, as a Californian, I'm like, it's not that big a deal. Just wear a few blankets. Now it makes sense because in Canada you will die. So, it's actually a very like serious urgent threat that half of her like wall is missing and is exposed to the elements. Everything makes sense now.
Yeah, well, and there was one part where she was talking about the snow and how like sometimes it went all the way up to the second story and people would like leave through the window. Or am I making that up? I swear she said that. Something like that. It was just talking about like a lot of snow. I was like, wow.
Yep. Failed him. If that was there, I failed it. Like I did not catch that whatsoever.
You
I'm
were
just
too
like, yeah,
focused
cold,
on the
cold.
French accent. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, because it took me a little bit. I started reading it and I didn't realize it was set in a different time period. And then it was talking about like the horse going down the street and the carriage. And I was like, wait, when is this set? So then I had to look it up. And yeah, definitely like we both went into this with no context other than cats.
Yeah. There's cats and there's magic.
Yeah, which summarizes the book. And snow, because there's a lot of snow in it too. But yeah, the magic was interesting because there was the Rivenwood, which is like the world where the magic comes from. And all magicians supposedly came from there at one point or are descended from people who came from there. And then they're able to use their, I guess, innate gifts to embed objects with magic. But then it seems like everyone, like regular people, can use the magic too, because Agnes starts using the pen and then she travels with the book and all of that.
I thought the concept of a Rivenwood was fascinating because also you lose a piece of yourself too.
Yeah, if you go far enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Like, I wish we had the author with us so I could ask. Because it's just and what happened to that world? And how did they get from that world to this world? And just so mmany questions. So I thought that was a really fascinating world building aspect for such a cozy story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I liked, because sometimes with cozy, I guess I haven't read a ton of cozy fantasy. But sometimes I like a few that I've read, I don't get as into it because it just feels like there's not enough forward momentum, you know? But this one wasn't like that. Like there's literally the apocalypse and there's like all of the tension with, is it Havelock? I don't know how they pronounce it.
That's how they pronounce it. Yeah, Havelock.
Okay. Havelock and Valerie, and
it's Valerie.
Valerie.
Yeah.
I cannot do a French accent.
Me neither.
Flavia.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's it felt like there was a lot happening, and I'm like already excited to get into the characters. Sorry, we will focus on the world first, and then we'll move on to the characters.
Yeah.
But one thing that I really loved was that they started making the cats magical. I thought that was so fun. And I really wanted to like know more, like, okay, well, but what are all of the like little spells you're putting on these cats? Like I want like to know every single one.
Yeah.
And then I want one of those cats.
I would have gone the whole way and I would have like charmed every single cat. Why not?
Yeah. I know, because they're like, we only did some of them. I'm like, can you do all of them?
Yeah. Like, if you're going to do some, why just not do all? Like, if it's ethics, it's either all or nothing, and you went halfway, so just go the whole way and, like, heal people of their arthritis or, like, give them luck or something like that. Why not?
Yeah. Do you think that it was ethically wrong for them to do that?
I don't know. If it affects the cats in any way, then probably. If the cats have zero awareness, probably not. That's just my first draft thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that as a book club discussion question, and I was like, the spells that they were putting on the cats, it doesn't seem like the cats were affected at all. And they were helpful for people. My only thing was because they were temporary. Like you get this cat and then you feel better and then the spell wears off. But it was unclear how long it would last.
As long as it didn't make people give the cats back. Like when I'm assuming the goal was like for them, if what Agnes believes is like if she could just get the cats in people's arms, the charm won't matter. Like, they'll love the cat. But if it ends up like let's say it goes to people who are selfish and they just want the cat for what it can do for them, that could be like, I could see that getting into some unethical territory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting. I almost wish that there's a sequel where it explores that, but this is cozy. And I feel like that's like beyond cozy. So
yeah.
But I did like that. I thought that was a cool use of the magic. And also the time travel. I was curious your thoughts on the time travel part. Cause we've read a couple books that have time loops and things like that. This one made sense to me. It didn't feel like when it happened, I was like, okay, like I didn't really see any holes in it or anything. And it matched with the story. So I liked it. I thought it was a good addition. But
yeah, from a sci-fi perspective, this time travel story is what you call a closed time loop story. The best example is Harry Potter and the Prisoners of Azkaban. So there's no parallel universes or, anything like that, or multiple histories like with the Everlasting. Instead, it's just time is linear, but there's this loop that happens, and everything you did while you time traveled happened in your current time too. Like when Harry Potter was he was dying from the Dementors, and then he saw the stag come. Himself. It was he had always saved himself. It's the same exact thing. Agnes had always been the one to steal the lantern, and she just didn't know it yet. And so the story continues. And I like this because it is a very clean type of time travel. I don't know how realistic it is, like from a scientist who studies quantum physics, but from a purely like story-driven perspective, makes sense to me. I like it.
I like it too. Well, and I like that it had it. I was not expecting it to then be that he recognized her from before.
Right.
Yeah. That was interesting because like in the first scene, and I didn't even notice it, when they first meet and he's like, Agnes, is that you? Because you're like, oh, he's her like landlord, and then it's no, like he remembers her. I loved that she brought that back. And I really
there was a lot of foreshadowing too, because he was like, I don't think I have the book. And she's like, what do you mean you don't think you have the book? And it's because he realized if Agnes time traveled, he probably did have the book. So like there was some good foreshadowing for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that there were like so many nuggets throughout this book. I loved all of that, but also I just smiled a lot while reading this because it was, it's cozy, but like their dynamic was fun. Should we start talking about the characters?
Yes, let's talk about the characters.
Okay. Yeah, because I think their dynamic was fun. And then also the cats, I loved all of the personalities, and then keeping track. She must have had like some sort of master list, like you had to be as organized as Agnes to keep track of all of the cats and which shelter they were at and who'd been adopted and who hadn't. And like, because there were so many just like fun little details of all of them. And
I loved how Havelock called her a professional cat herder. Because like isn't that like almost like an insult, like trying to herd cats, but she did it. So I thought that was it's like half insult, half extreme like compliment to say that you can herd cats. So I thought it was like the best thing ever.
Well, it's literally her job. Like most of her job is just like going around and keeping them all like contained and like up to date on everything. And I love how she had her like master plans of like, oh, well, once we like get money, like then we'll like go to like the feral colonies and like neuter and spay like some of the like the biggest breeders basically, and like really try to like help the cat population. And
I will say
it's interesting because a lot of people in the beginning were kind of talking about the cats like they were like vermin. Like multiple people said that.
Yeah, she I think turned it around, and I have to say Agnes as a character was my favorite. She's like the perfect woman to me. Like, let me explain. First of all, she's the kind of person that I adore, which is like someone with such a big, big, big heart that she not only sees the good in all humans, even when maybe she shouldn't. Like she's that kind of person, which I just find so endearing. But her love extends even to like the quote unquote vermin of the city. And then her love is so strong that people start to not see cats as vermin. And like and on top of that, she's also a sharp businesswoman. Like, tell me about the perfect package. Like, I'm here for it. I'll read a whole series with Agnes. And then on the other side of that, like her Robert, her husband. Was it spelled Robert in the book?
It was. I was like, who's Robert?
Yeah,
it's Robert.
I had a feeling it was Robert. Whatever. Something along those lines. he broke my heart. Like, it broke my heart because their relationship is so beautiful. He struck me as someone who also had a big heart like her. And
Yeah.
they're just two people who have big hearts taking care of cats. And it was just so like, man, what like like, even though it's cozy fantasy, there was like this element of extreme heaviness with like the where she had come from and what she had to endure.
Yeah, the part where she's back in time and sees him again, I was like not prepared for that. And it was almost cruel to have her run into him. Like, I think it was good and it was like healing for her, but it was also like the author, I'm like, why did you make her do that? Because that would be so, I don't think I would not be able to like move on. Like, I don't know.
No. I also would have been like, oh, well, like universe, like fabric of the universe be damned. I'm going to go like ditch everything and be like, hey, let's go, like go to the doctor together.
Yeah. Because did he have a heart attack?
He had a heart attack at 30 that was like, they said unavoidable or something, but I would have tried. Like, I would have spent that year or two trying to figure out what's going on, trying to heal him and be like, I don't care what happens. If the whole fabric of the universe unravels, at least I got to spend like a year or a couple days or I don't know how long with my husband again. So
yeah, or like you rationalize like, well, maybe I was supposed to have all this happen so I could come back and be like, maybe don't eat any more croissants because they have a lot of butter. And
right.
Like
right. Like, just warn him like, hey, go to the doctor. Like, yeah. Something along those lines. So yeah, but that shows again what kind of a good person she is. Cause I would have literally been like, sorry, universe. I'm going to spend the few days I have while everything unravels with my husband.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It was that I was not expecting it since it is at least marketed as cozy. I was surprised that I mean, the scene was emotionally intense. I think if it wasn't cozy, it probably would have been a lot more, it's more difficult to read. And it did feel hard. Like, you could feel her grief in it, but it didn't slow down the book for me. It's not like we got lost in the grief. Like, it still continued. Yeah.
No, like you said, it was more of healing for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is nice.
How did you feel about Havelock?
I liked him. I kind of liked him from the beginning, from the first time we meet him. And I was like skeptical. I mean, because from her perspective, the magicians are always bad from the beginning. And I was like, can they? I guess maybe because I just read so much fantasy and I'm like, but can't they be good? and then he's this person who just loves magic and just wants to kind of be a mad scientist, like just creating his own stuff and just like alone in his like weird basement like study, which is like completely underground. So I liked him. Yeah.
I loved him too. I had mad scientist is the exact like term I was thinking of when I was reading about him. And he's funny. He made me laugh.
Yeah,
like,
I agree. Yeah.
He has the best quips in the book. And I think he's such a good pairing with Agnes because Agnes is so earnest. And so is he, but in two completely different ways. And in ways that clash with each other in really funny ways. Like him always complaining about the cats, but actually he loves the cats.
Yeah.
You know? Like, just, it was I like seeing those types of relationships, like easy, silly, like, relationships that like aren't too like the relationship itself is not too complicated. It's nice to see.
Yeah, I liked their relationship too. I thought it was really funny. And I loved something that just felt very like representative of what you're saying is when Agnes was arrested and then she's like, but who's watching the cats? And her sister just keeps ignoring her. She's like, no, who's watching it? And then it cuts to him and it's just like disarray. And she's like, oh my God, but he's like taking care of them. So
right. He's being the cat herder and he hates, like theoretically hates cats because they make him, he's allergic. Yeah. So that was such a like scene. Love that scene.
I know. It was there were like so many moments like that in the book that were just fun and cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Valerie, which, how do you say it? How did they say
it? Like, if as close as I can, Valerie.
Yeah. It was interesting because I was like, why is she so intent on like bringing down her brother. They kind of implied that it was because she cared too much about the magic and was jealous because his magic was stronger. I don't know. How did you interpret that?
Okay, here's my mad scientist take on this. Their relationship is mirrored 1-for-1 in His Majesty and Banshee.
Oh, that's interesting. So, and then she ends up with His Majesty.
Yes, and Havelock ends up with Banshee.
Oh,
because
you're right. Yeah.
His Majesty is always dogging on Banshee and is like always attacking her. And Banshee doesn't even care. Like, is like, who, me? Like, doesn't even respond. Like, is like so happy and loves His Majesty and doesn't really like attack back or anything like that. I feel like that was their relationship, where Valerie, I can't pretend to know what His Majesty was doing and like his motivations, because who knows? A cat's world is much deeper than our world, so I don't know. But Valerie, I think she was just jealous. Like, she was jealous, and whereas he was just a mad scientist with his toys, she like wanted those toys for power and fame and glory and whatever. And so she would like constantly attack him, and he'd be like, who, me? Like, they even say in the book, like, he never really saw her as an enemy. He's just like, oh, that's my sister. Like, and then she almost killed him several times. And he's just like, oh, but I love her. And so, and like, yeah, so I thought that was like I thought that was really interesting. Like, the relationship between the cats was really similar to the relationship of their future parents.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't make that connection. I thought His Majesty I listed him as a character to talk about because I was shocked when he was the one who led her in.
Traitor.
And he just like, I've never read a book where an animal like switches sides.
Betrays.
Yeah. And like, that's like a key plot point, is that this cat was just like, no, I'm going to help the woman who like destroyed my home multiple times, and like, just like show her how to come in. And then like he was just like, okay.
How could he?
Yeah. I want to know what happened off screen, like off pages, I guess, when she takes him, because he didn't want to go with her. And then it's like, so they must have had some sort of connection. Like, I kind of want to see that, like, how did she win him over?
I don't know, but I love the ending when she sees, like, Agnes sees Valerie walking, and like the cat is like perfectly contented, and Valerie loves the cat.
I know.
Like, oh, even villains should have cats, which we've always known from The Godfather, right? It's the God, right? That's where he's like petting the cat and he's like, you come to me. So everyone deserves a cat, even the villains.
I think that there is a cat. There's truly a cat for everyone. Do I think that there's a dog for everyone? I don't think so. I think that some dogs are like more intense, but I think cats like there's some that are just like so self-sufficient. They could just be your roommate. And even if you're a villain, like
even if you're a villain.
What did you think about Laurent?
Laurent. I forget. Yeah. Can't remember how they pronounced his name. To me, he just seemed like a regular good guy. I don't even think what he did was that bad with Agnes. Like, he was just kind of doing his job, but he felt guilty about it.
I thought it was interesting that he was a magician.
Yes. But he never went to the Rivenwood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought added an interesting layer to the world building of this world.
Yeah. Like, there's some magicians who refuse to go. And yeah. Because then it's kind of creating this like social like norms amongst the magicians of like, well, the good guys like don't even touch it, but you're like, you're too risky. Like, you've gone there. And I thought that was interesting.
What does that mean? Like, we could talk about this later, but like, what does that mean for people who do go to the Rivenwood? But we'll save that for a question I have later.
Ooh, the intrigue.
Yeah.
And then the sister, Elise, do they pronounce it Elise?
Yes. Yeah. Elise, yeah.
I liked her. I thought it was... I thought she was so just funny. Like, she was constantly telling Agnes, just like, well, just don't tell him that there's cats. Just like, just like stretch the truth and like all of this stuff, and of course Agnes is like, no. And which I agree with. But it was just funny to see like how different they were. But they also were very close and like really cared for each other, which I thought was a beautiful relationship.
She's the perfect sister. Like Agnes and Elise are just like two of the most perfect women, and together make a perfect duo. And I support them. Like Elise is a foil to Agnes, but because like I think it's implied that she grew up that way because she had to be to protect Agnes from herself. Like that, like she is at her core a very protective person. And like when Robert dies, Elise and Gabrielle are there for her. In the beginning of the book, they give her like part of their salary. They basically take care of her. And that's what family is for. Like that is family. That is what they do, is like they take care. And also Elise really rolls with the punches, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
Like
I love her with Havelock too. Yeah. She is like,
the Witch King. It lives under my sister's apartment.
Yeah, I feel like the characters in this were all good, including the cats, who all
I loved all of them. Speaking of the cats, should we talk about the themes of the book?
Yes, let's do it. So we kind of already talked about this, but I feel like a big theme was that there's a cat for everyone, but also like expanding that. I think that there's goodness and like a loving side to everyone, which we see in Valerie. Like she was like, I don't want to say coddling, like what's the word, but like really, there with his
like
majesty.
Nurturing. Like she was like
exactly. Like nurturing him. And I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah. I think it was also like that is such a core central theme of the book. And I think it's heavily mirrored in Agnes's personality and perspective of the world. And in fact, her perspective on the world is challenged by several people, including Havelock and her sister Elise. But it's kind of like her perspective wins out in the end, because of Valerie, when the Rivenwood, and this again adds an interesting layer to the world building, but it seems like when the Rivenwood gets taken out of her, and like she loses her ability to do magic, it seems like she feels guilty for the way she treated her brother, and she like seems to really love his majesty. And so I think like the there's goodness in everyone. Like there's always something worth redeeming. And by the way, again, I just want to say that's what I really loved about Agnes, is that she didn't hate anyone, even people that like she should have hated. Even Laurent, when at first she was mad at him and she's like, I want revenge. And then the next day she's like, you know what? He was just doing his job. Like
I know her sister was like, no.
Like she just saw, like if everyone in the world was like her, where everyone saw the good in everyone, and like there would be no war. Like there would be no. She's like the opposite of all of the characters we've been reading, Demi. Like
all the power hungry. And
yes. She is literally literally the opposite. Like everybody we've been reading are people who are so obsessed with power that they will destroy the world for it. Whereas Agnes actually had an inheritance. So she had some level of power, not like, magic or anything, or like crazy levels of power, but she could have done something that could have use it to start a bit she did use it to start a business, but use it to start a profitable business or anything like that. And instead she used it to save little helpless creatures off the streets. And so bad things happen to her, like she loses her husband, but her insistence on being good and seeing the good, eventually people start to see the good in her, and they start to see the good in Havelock too.
I know. Yeah.
There's this saying that I really love from this Russian saint. His name is Saint Seraphim of Sarov. And the saying is, if you gain inner peace, 1,000 around you will gain inner peace too.
Oh, I love that.
I think she's I feel like she's such a good example of that. Like she was so good that her goodness came out of her and like helped other people be good too. Like we need that. We need that in this world.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's such a perfect message. And that kind of aligns with another theme that I saw, which is, it feels like prejudice was kind of part of this. Like there's prejudice to the magicians, and also just like listening to the rumors and kind of the like making judgments before you know someone, and not recognizing that everyone can be individuals and different. Because she sees all of the cats as they all have unique needs and unique personalities, and and they need a family to support that. They need to be matched. And then we see that with Havelock, where a lot of people hate the magicians, and she hates the magicians. She did have some bias that she hadn't recognized. And then through this, she learns like, hey, Havelock's like, he just wants to do magic. Like he's not even trying to put it out into the world. He just wants to create an experiment. And his sister's doing this. So not all magicians are evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, not to add to that and not to add more about how much I love Agnes, but I really liked how quickly her mind changed. Like, some people, when they have prejudice, like they might have to meet 1,000 of the people that they hate before they're like, maybe not all of them are bad. Like, you know, whereas she like immediately, like she like was prejudiced against magicians because in her mind, magicians were this abstract concept that just want to destroy. All she needed to was meet one human being, see the humanity in them, being like, and was like, oh, like magicians are diverse, just like the rest of us. They just have these destructive powers because of their innate power that they have, but they're not necessarily like evil because they're magicians.
Yeah. And I love it because as she learned that, like you said, the rest of the community learned it too. She went through this, and then people were supporting the shelter because the head of the newspaper, I don't remember his name.
Roger.
He got the cat, and then he's like, you know, spreading all this stuff, and everyone's rallying around them. And it's like they all were able to learn together. And I thought it was a really great example of community and how supportive. And I mean, honestly, essential like small businesses are, like, because this is, I mean, it's a nonprofit, but it is a small business, and it's making this impact on the community. And yeah, people are rallying around it. I really loved it. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. This was a love letter for cats, and it was a love letter for community-based organizations. Here for it.
Yeah, I love it.
Debbie, what was your favorite scene?
My favorite one, I wrote down when she goes to Paris, but I kind of think it might be when she comes back in Havelock's, the one we talked about earlier, when he's taking care of the cats. She's just like, what are you doing? And it's chaos. I thought that was really funny. But I really love the moment when he turned the attic into, you know, a chance to go to Paris, and then she's able to go. Because it showed that he was listening to her, and he was using his magic for good and to support someone, and someone's taking care of her when she's spent her whole life, or at least the life of the book, taking care of everyone else. I loved it. I thought that was a perfect ending.
Yeah. I just want to say there was like a lot of magic in this book that I would love in real life.
Yes.
Like, let's say I go through my garage door and I'm in London. That would just be really nice. And then let's say I go through the attic and now I'm in Paris. Like, just saved me so much money, and I could just go back to my bed at the end of the day. Would love that. Yeah. Also, the eclair that shows up at midnight. Would love that.
I was like, how do I get like a magical like stove or fireplace? I don't remember what it was, where pastries just arrive at midnight every night.
Yeah.
Good ones. And they're not always the same. They're different.
I would guaranteed get diabetes, but it's a small price to pay for a magical pastry that shows up in my oven every night at 12.
Well, maybe if they're magical, we'll just say that there's no negative health.
Yeah. Magic calories, magic sugar. Yeah.
It's actually nourishing. It's good for you.
Yeah. Like sometimes magic can be like so too intense, you know, and it's like, I don't want this. This was like the ways I would use magic, like food and travel. So yeah.
And magical cats.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, totally. Magical cats. You know what? If I could charm my corgi, I just realized I 100% would. I don't know. I probably a magical, like automatic bathing thing. Like,
I was just thinking that. I was like, if I could charm my dog. Okay, let's like go down this rabbit hole. If we could charm our pets, what would we want them to be charmed with? And honestly, for Fern, my giant Newfoundland, who is a mess, I would just want her to be self-cleaning.
Yeah, like a fresh breath, no tartar buildup, and like dirt repellent. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But also she sheds a lot, and it's like, it's everywhere. So I'm like, if you could be magical and just not shed, or like it just magically ends up in the trash or like outside.
I add that to my list too. Yeah, I add that to my list too. Other than that, I think my dog is magic. So I don't really need her to do anything else. But if she could just not be so smelly and so shiny, that'd be, But God doesn't give it two hands. So...
well, I guess if we can ever access the Ribbonwood, we'll see if one of us wants to give up part of ourselves to make our dogs self-cleaning.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was your favorite scene?
For me, probably Agnes seeing Robert. It was just
really?
so, like it was such a deep moment and like made me really think like, what would I do? And like, how many of us who have lost loved ones say like we would spend 10 lifetimes just to spend one day with the person we lost.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really heartbreaking. But I also, like, on a much lighter note, I really like the scene with His Majesty and Valerie at the end, where Valerie's just like a normal person. It's actually the ending for Valerie reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Have you ever watched it, the TV show?
I have not. No.
When your baby gets old enough, highly recommend you watch it with her. It's one of the greatest TV shows of all time. It's a cartoon on Nickelodeon. But the way the show ends is there's this demon Fire Lord Hitler person, basically. Mm-hmm. And the Avatar, instead of killing him because he's so against killing, he takes away his power and then makes him a normal person. Sorry for anyone. Maybe we should cut this part out.
Well, this is a spoiler podcast, but I guess a different spoiler. I mean, it's been around a long time, isn't it?
It's been like, I saw when I was in high school and I'm away from high school.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I do recommend it for anybody if you have children watching. Like, this is a very good kid-friendly show that has really good morals and low stimulation and all of that. So it's a really good show.
Good magic, I'm assuming.
Yeah, good. I would say more like it's not necessarily. I don't know what I would call the magic system. It's not necessarily magic. It's like bending of nature. Like I guess it is magic, but it's like very elemental magic is the right term. Like they they could bend the elements to their will. And but yeah, so she kind of reminds me of that, of someone who has been her power has been taken away from her, so she's like a normal person. And honestly, it's like the best ending she could have ever have gotten. Like for her it might have been a failure, but every other scenario would have left her in ruins. If she got what she wanted, she'd be a terror and people would take her down. If she didn't get what she wanted, she would have been killed and died a magician's death. This was the best ending, which is a normal life with a cat. And I really I kind of actually really liked that scene because I also felt like it was like good for her. Like it really keeps with the theme of the story, which is like there's good in everyone and like things can end well. Like not everything has to be a disaster.
Yeah, or death. I think when we were talking earlier about the Ribbonwood and the magic, to me it was almost like addiction. Like some people can become addicted to the magic and like consume, like almost like obsessed. Like, if you're addicted to something, and it's kind of like that's what it seemed like for her. But instead of having to like fight it herself, like she was able to just have it taken away, which is also kind of beautiful in a way. Like she gets to be free, and like this thing that's very toxic for her is now just not part of her, which is obviously she's gonna have to do a lot of work to like figure out who she is now. But yeah, I do think there have been a few, I know in Charmed that happens, like anytime there's a story where like there's someone who's using magic for bad and then the result is just they don't have magic anymore. I really like that. I don't know if that's a trope, but whatever that is.
I like that trope.
Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. Who was your favorite character?
Agnes, my girl. How about you?
Yeah, I think maybe Agnes, honestly, or His Majesty, just because I was not expecting the cat to become like a double crosser. I don't even know what that would be called, but yeah, he was more complex than I was expecting.
Okay, would a dog ever double cross its past owner?
No, only a cat would do this.
Yeah, just leave it there.
Although, I mean, my dog might if there was a tree involved. So,
you know what? Yep. My dog, I always say if there was like a murderer, my dog would let him in and then like show the murderer where all the goods are, which would be like my dog's bag of toys. So, so yeah, but never on purpose. My dog would never betray me on purpose, just out of pure innocence. Can you say the same for His Majesty?
I think his definitely was more strategic. Yeah. He seemed like he had at least the way that I was reading it, he seemed like he had some plotting that he was doing, and the way he was treating the other cats. Yeah. He was an interesting character, which I was not expecting. Yeah. And I think I wrote that down. Oh yeah, I did. That was my favorite line also, was when she describes how she got him. I think he came and was staying on the porch or something. He wouldn't go away. And then she said, although his entrance into my life has been more akin to a hostile takeover. And I just thought that was so funny. And then he literally, I just realized now, he does create a hostile takeover in the end.
Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he was my favorite character. Yeah.
I can see that. One of my favorite lines was pretty much everything. I have to say, the author is funny. She's clever.
It's hard to pull off funny. And this book made me laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything Havelock had to say about the cats was my favorite line. And calling Agnes a professional cat herder and just constantly complaining, I thought was they were hilarious. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked them too. It was so fun. This was I feel I haven't read a ton of cozy fantasy, but this was very good. I thought this was very good cozy fantasy. And I want to read more like this, where it's honestly, I think I just want more books with cats.
Yeah. There's cats, there's enough intrigue to keep you going, like you said.
Yeah.
But there's and there's a good plot, but the stakes were somewhat high, actually. Thinking about this, the stakes were high.
They were pretty high, yeah.
But she was able to mull it over through Agnes's goodness. So things never felt too high. Maybe that's how she pulled it off. But it was a fun, funny, enjoyable read. I loved it. I would totally read more books like this. This is probably one of my favorite books that I've read so far. I know I say that every time.
You do say that literally every time. I think I'm starting to think whatever book you've read most recently is your favorite book.
Yeah. But this one, for reals, this time is one of my favorite books that we've read so far.
Now I just want to compile a bunch of clips where you're I think this is my favorite one. It's literally every time.
Yes.
But yes, this one was good. I really liked it. Okay, do you have any predictions?
Okay, not necessarily predictions. But I have questions about this world and what happens next. So, will Havelock lose his soul? Because it's not that clear in the book, because he becomes ethereal. Mm-hmm. And he almost looks like he's not a person anymore. It's implied a couple times that oh my God, he's losing his humanity. But then he steps back into being a human, and it's no piece of him is missing. So how does that work?
Yeah, I was confused by that too. But it did seem to imply that Agnes helped him to be human. I was wondering if it was maybe the isolation, because he spends so much time alone in magic, and then she helps ground him in the world.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's how I read it. Yeah.
That makes sense. But does the Rivenwood have any actual real consequences? If people don't want to visit it, and the people who visit it do say that it takes away something from you, what are the consequences of that? Also, in Valerie, did she get the Rivenwood taken out of her? Did it heal her? So is it worth maybe book 2 will be about Havelock getting rid of the Rivenwood in him? And also, why is the Rivenwood so bad? It's just the planet, or it's just the world. What's so bad about it? And can we go to it? Because it seems really cool and interesting.
I love all of yours are world questions. You're also this. No, it's true. I was wondering that too. I was why? But why is it bad? It almost seemed like magic went out of control and they had to flee. And maybe it was something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll is magic out. Evil inherently, or is magic just a force? Is anything from that planet is evil, or is it just that it's not compatible with our planet? I don't know. Would like to know.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't know if this is gonna have a sequel. I kind of hope it does, because I want the, like I said, I want the off scene, how Valerie and His Majesty decided that they like each other because neither of them like anyone. And they're like together at the end. So that's like not a prediction, but I'm like, yeah, if there was like a short story around that, I would definitely read it just out of curiosity.
Yeah. I know maybe a prediction is that Agnes opens up a second shelter for raccoons.
Yeah, just like more types of creatures.
Yeah, because someone mentioned like, oh, like you would open up a raccoon shelter. Maybe she will. Maybe she will. Who knows? Like a raccoon rehabilitation shelter or something. Like maybe she starts expand. Like once she fixes the feral cat population and she neuters all of them and she fixes cat homelessness, she'll like expand to other animals and like, yeah.
Well, it's Canada, so I'm like, would it be what's like a very Canadian animal?
Moose, but maybe.
I wonder how many moose Montreal has.
Yeah.
That would be a very quick problem to solve, though.
Yeah.
There's not that many. But yeah, I feel like she definitely will find, even if she solves the cats, like she'll definitely find something else that she needs to rescue, even if it's Havelock.
Yeah. She's a rescuer, like to her core.
Actually, I think maybe that's it. Maybe the next one would be she's fixed all of the cats in the city. And her new thing is that she has to figure out how to save Havelock's soul.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get consumed by the Rivenwood.
Yeah. And like fixing all of the magicians who have become husks. Like she's like, you know.
Yeah.
Worthy cause.
Well, there we go, Heather Fawcett. If you needed inspiration. Well, do you have any final thoughts on this one?
Okay. I just realized we're thinking about Moose. We never thought about her expanding her shelter to dogs.
Oh my gosh, we completely skipped over that.
We went from cats to raccoons to moose.
To moose, never dogs.
Yeah.
That's funny. Was there even a dog in the book?
No, I think we know what Heather Fawcett, like where she lies in the dog-cat debate. I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah, because it could have been an animal shelter, but it was a cat shelter. Yeah.
And not a single dog? No dog representation?
Yeah, this was fun. I'm going to recommend this to everyone in my life who likes cats. Even if they don't read or like fantasy. I'm like, I think you need to read this book. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great book and again, I really recommend the Audible because it was very immersive.
I wish I knew it was like a French accent. Yeah. That sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll listen to it. I say that every time we do a podcast, so where I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go listen to it now, as if I have time to just immediately reread every single book.
If only.
Well, thank you so much for talking about this with me and for reading the book and sharing your thoughts on magical enchantments for pets. Maybe we'll see. Maybe they'll happen someday. We'll all have self-cleaning dogs.
Amen. I dream of that world.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening and definitely let us know also, obviously, what you thought about the book. But if you have cats and if you have any opinions on the cat and dog debate, we are also curious about that as well. Yeah. All right. See you next time, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed the episode, follow More Magic on your favorite podcast platform to be notified of future episodes. And if you have the time, please rate and review to help us spread more magic to other fantasy readers. As always, if there's a book you want us to discuss, you can let us know at moremagicpodcast.com. In the meantime, we hope your current read becomes your next favorite, and we're sending you more magic.